right, folks, we are officially live after some technical difficulties. Live on Twitter, live on YouTube.
We didn't shut it down though. Some people would shut it down. We didn't.
And Nick will be joining here soon, but we have his co-host, the Scoop Meister, Mr. Hearings, whatever you want to call him. Mike Vernon is here, and I don't know if we want to call this a meltdown. I don't know if we want to call this a vent session. I don't even know what we want to call this episode, but all I know is everything sucks. Kevin McCullar is out for the NCAA tournament, and we got a lot to talk about. KU Twitter's in full meltdown mode, which is fair. And so, Vern, how you doing? What's going through your head right now?
I'm not great.
Fair.
I'm not great. I don't know if this will be a meltdown or not. I have no idea where this is going to go. I have no thoughts prepared, but I'm hoping we can have an honest conversation about something that's pretty tricky here. But what's going on in my head is shock and awe. That's the nature of a lot of the conversations I've had today. Yeah. People are surprised and a little agitated, So it's shock and awe over here.
Yeah. So before we dive a little deeper into what Mike was just kind of referring to, B-turn, AB, I want to just sum it up quickly, but where are you at? I mean, are you in meltdown mode? Are you angry? Are you sad? A mix of everything? Where are you at with everything?
Yeah, it's obviously just a lot of confusion. I mean, the last month or so, it's just he's played, he's sat. And then obviously Bill days ago said Kevin and Hunter would be good to go for the tournament. And so obviously KU's not playing great basketball right now, but as a fan, you're going to talk yourself into almost anything. And we talked about how this starting five and those two 100% healthy, or at least close to it, they've beaten a lot of good teams. So I fully expected both of them to play. I mean, Bill talked about the rest that they would get after the Big 12 tournament. And so I thought they would both play. And I talked myself into at least a second weekend. I think we had a chance, and now obviously I don't feel great, but it just feels Rye, you said it perfectly on Twitter about how Bill Self can get his point across without really in the most respectful, professional way. And the way he was talking about Kevin just tells me that it was Kevin's decision, and it feels like that's been the thing for a couple of weeks now. Vern said something about drawing a line through the sand. So it feels like this is Kevin's decision. Bill sounded agitated, kind of sounded like he wanted him to play and that he could have played. But the fact that they 100%, 1,000% just shut him down for the whole tournament just tells me everything I think I need to know. I mean, if this team made it to the Elite Eight, if they made it to the national semifinals, I think I honestly probably have a better chance at getting laid this weekend than that actually happening. But you're not saying that Kevin could at least give it a shot, go through warmups, a chance to play, but he's just done for the tournament after a couple days ago saying that he would be good to go.
Yeah, I mean, so Vern, well, AB, I mean, you just ready to dive in? I'm sure you don't have much more than that. People are commenting that you look angry. I think.
Yeah. Just naturally, I look like an angry boy. But the only thing I'll say is I'm sick of going into NCAA tournaments with optimism that someone on the team or on the staff is going to come back and then getting the rug pulled out from under us like a day before the game starts. It was that last year with Bill, Joel Embiid, obviously. It just feels like way too often that situation's happening. So that's the only thing I'll really add, but I don't want to echo too much of what you guys have already said.
It sucks. So Vern, we've got you on here, and I want to just kind of back up and think back to when this all started, which I think would have been probably early February, late January was when you started to hear that Kev was a little banged up. I can't even remember, but is that
sounds right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was when the bone bruise first happened. I can pull up my old article, and then I think late February is when it got weird. Is he gonna maybe not play and then come back and play 35 minutes, a couple games, and then sit out a couple games? But yeah, it was a bone bruise going back to earlier in the season. And those are weird injuries. It sounds like they can take time to heal. That's what a lot of people say, though. Like Bill Self said, let's just get into it. Like, I see the comment. Like, yeah, the knee is structurally fine. I don't think he hurt it worse, and I think he was cleared to play. So if he's cleared to play, if that's right, and I think it is, and he's sitting out, and maybe he can go, but like that's certainly what Self was alluding to today. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and I mean, it's his choice, and like we can all sit here behind the screen and say, "Well, it's just pain. Play through it." But like,
He already did.
There's so many KU players that I think we all agree would be playing right now in March. Like, just you think back to some all-time like I don't know, it just feels so weird.
Oh, yeah.
And I get this team. It's not like any of us felt like Kevin McCullar was going to come back and this team was going to make a run, but there was still that slight glimmer of hope that, hey, they did beat UConn. They did beat Kentucky. They looked really good when they were all playing well together. And it just feels like he kind of threw in the towel. Like he kind of just quit. And it's a weird feeling because we've said on this pod for months or years that Kevin McCullar felt like he was such a perfect Bill Self type player. A guy that's going to play good defense, a guy that's going to dive on the floor, a guy that's going to leave it all out there. But man, these last few months have just felt like, and you said it, things got weird. You've been, you've had the scoops, I don't quite understand is this an NBA draft thing? Is this strictly him just being like, this really hurts and I don't want to play through the pain? I don't understand. Is he getting bad intel from an agent? Is it family? I don't understand.
I mean, it seems like a business decision, NBA thing, and it's really hard. Like, I don't know exactly how to talk about this because it seems like there was an injury. Like, that seems pretty certain. And he was projected in the lottery, and there's millions of dollars. And at the same time, like, he is getting paid to play now at KU.
And it was a tough
for his
tough
name,
scene that he posted 2 ad deals on Instagram today.
But like, talk to anyone who knows Bill Self and ask him what they heard in his voice in that video today. Like, they know
made it clear
what Bill sounds like when he's pissed. He was pissed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was like, it is just a shocking turn. Yeah, the ad deals was unreal. The statement too. Like, but I've been hearing, he's had injury issues kind of the whole time. Like, he's been at KU.
Yeah.
We have Nick here.
Nick is in.
He's in. Can you hear us?
Is he freezing?
Hasn't moved.
No.
But yeah, it's wild because some people are obviously talking about the NBA draft stuff. But I know he had a great start to the year. Like, he was incredible. He was near the top. He was near the top of National Player of the Year lists at sportsbooks. So, but then he struggled. He struggled so badly for the last few weeks. So it's like, with the NBA stuff, like, are they going to look at how he's played lately? And if they are, why wouldn't you want to play in the tournament to maybe raise your stock a little bit? And you were playing through this injury 2 weeks ago. Like, is it selfish I know you want to try to play and gut it out, but if the injury was this bad, is it selfish to be playing through it for that long? I mean, like, think about the AB and Rye, you too. We were both at the K-State game in Manhattan. He did not look himself.
Nope.
I don't want to blame one player because they all stunk, but kind of costed us that game down the stretch. Like, him playing cost KU like a seed line. And how are you playing 2 weeks ago? And then Bill Self days ago says you're going to play, and then you just shut it down. Like, why was he playing at Houston? We went into that game. We knew we weren't going to win that game. Why is he playing against a tough physical Houston team with that injury? And it hasn't gotten worse. He didn't really play that much in that game at all. So 2 weeks later, you're just done for the tournament. No matter how far your team and your brothers go, you're done for the tournament. You're not playing.
Do you think that was him or Self that just said call it for the season?
I think it's him.
Okay.
So you think if KU wins, looks good Thursday, beats Gonzaga in a great second round game, Bill would say, you know what, Kevin, you can come back.
All right, that part I don't know, which is like,
Yeah.
how long are we gonna keep doing this? At some point, you got to go forward with your guys, but like, I think it was a business decision, and I think, look, I'm looking right now. Like I wrote February 27th that I was hearing about frustration with all parties, like being confident he was ready to play against this Oklahoma game, and he goes 35 minutes, and then he misses the next two. It's just maybe if he wasn't sure about this weekend, Self moves forward, but that you're not choosing Nick Timberlake and Elmarco Jackson.
No.
Like, sorry, I want to take it back for Elmarco, but you're not choosing Nick Timberlake.
No. And like, that's the thing, as mad as Bill Self can be, if there was any year where Bill was gonna be lenient with a guy, if he felt, if he was gonna be stubborn and tell a guy, look, figure it out and come back or you're done, it feels like this year you'd have the longest leash because the alternative is Nick Timberlake. And I really can't believe it sounds like this is what you are thinking too, Mike. Like Self 100% last week, or maybe even as of Sunday, felt like Kevin was playing, right? Was there any rumblings, do you think, of him doing this?
I have some conflicting info, and I'm not totally sure yet. The gist is that I think KU is surprised. That is like where I think it was right now. Like, and I had heard yesterday that there were like non-contact. I don't know what they would do, but there was some optimism. It sounded like, and I'm surprised that they put him on the plane and he's flying there, and now he's not playing. Right? Like what changed?
He's playing in fucking regular season games 2 weeks ago. Why the fuck's he playing in the games if the injury's that bad? He didn't practice for 6 weeks. How could it have gotten worse? And if it was that bad, why is he playing in regular season games where you can't even win the Big 12?
Optics, baby. I don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of looking tough, and I'm not seeing it, or like the KU tough. At the same time, like he does have millions of dollars on the line potentially. Like, I don't know. It's hard to figure out, but you don't see guys opt out of the NCAA tournament, and it sounds like he opted out. I don't know. Yeah. I'm steaming.
And really. And Rye, you brought up a good point, because that's exactly what I was thinking about when I first saw that he was out for the year, is just going back to when he announced for KU. And it was just perfect fit for Bill Self. You knew Bill Self would be in love with him. Senior night last year, Bill Self pretty much said, like, don't get your hopes up on Kevin coming back. So we all thought he was gone, and Bill was he was sad. And I remember Kev, when we lost to Arkansas, how distraught he was, and how much of a privilege and an honor he thought it was to be a KU player. He was
good in that game.
Yeah, how he just thought it was a privilege to be a KU player. He wished he had more time here. I remember him saying that specifically. Wish I had more time at Kansas. I wish I would have played years there. He comes back, and he's this incredible player. We were all like, oh my God, what a blessing we didn't get Mackenzie Mbako. We ended up getting Kevin McCullar, who's obviously he's got way more experience. He's probably going to be a first rounder. He's playing for his draft stock. And now Kevin's just done for the season. With the NCAA tournament, something you dream of playing in your entire life, and you've won one tournament game at Kansas in your 2-year career, and now you're just done. You're just done with KU, when you act like it was this privilege and huge honor to play here. And now you're just not even giving it a shot to play, no matter how far KU goes. And I don't know if that's like a reflection of them, like thinking this team's not going to go deep by saying he's done for the tournament or what, but I think it's just insane to me that they're not even giving it a chance when he was playing a couple weeks ago, and it doesn't look like he re-aggravated it at all.
It's McCall over. The joke is on us. Like any NBA team's going to do their diligence. They'll know. So that's the other thing, which is like, what in this is just weird, and something off is going on. It's a really strange story.
What do we think about well, I think we've kind of mentioned it was clear Self I don't think Self would admit this publicly, but his comments today, I felt like were pretty clear. He was trying to make it obvious. This was not a doctor. This was not our staff. This was Kevin's decision. Now, with that said, like, I don't know where I'm necessarily going with that.
Let
It's
it
just,
fly,
what
babe.
do we think about this PR move that we're now seeing where like Kevin's doing a notes app and the players are coming out to support him? Like, are we going to see Self come out and be like, hey, just so you guys know, if I didn't make it clear, this was not, this was a group decision. Like, I don't know. Is Self going to continue to kind of do these passive aggressive comments, or
he might regret being as hot as he was, I think, today. But I don't know. Like, okay, so who supported him on Twitter? The players. It was Juan and
Hunter.
Hunter? Yeah, and Kenny Logan.
Hell yeah.
Great.
To Jalen.
Any KJ?
I don't know.
I want to see if KJ says anything. Like that guy's been like the alpha of the team, right? That's been your leader. If you look at who's, if there has been one, there really hasn't, but like it would be Kevin or KJ. Curious if he says anything.
KJ flew to Maui the day after his mom died to play basketball with the boys.
Right.
And
No sleep.
Yeah. So like,
I mean,
I don't know.
It's a pretty good point when you look at like what's going on.
Like I get like injury, like physically and emotionally is very different, but like, come on, dude. If it's literally just a pain tolerance thing, like toughen up. Just toughen the fuck up. It's so frustrating. And who knows if it actually is. We'll probably never know the full story. I'm just basing it off, Vern, what you've said over the past 2 months and what Bill's tone has been over the last month and a half. And it's hard for me to think it's anything otherwise.
I mean, yeah, you can look at the quotes and see the minutes and kind of hear like these stories of just like he might be done for the season.
Yeah. I think it was
February, he plays 35 minutes?
Yeah, February 27th, Bill there was a tweet, maybe it was you, Bill said, like, we're preparing to not have Kevin McCullar back. Like,
we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Yeah.
It was clear that Bill was questioning Kevin's ability to come back. Now, whether back then it was totally him being frustrated, I think that was, based on what you were saying, kind of when the frustration started, but yeah, it's just talk about a weird year for injuries within KU athletics. I think Bry tweeted, shout out Bry, that Kevin McCullar is what some people thought Jalen Daniels was, which is funny to think about. I mean, Jalen Daniels was getting dragged for not playing. Nobody really knew completely the details why. Turns out, I think he was pretty dang injured. And it sucked, and he was gutted to not be able to play. And now here we are, basketball, and it feels like we've got a situation where fans are once again questioning a guy's toughness. But this one doesn't quite feel like it's as brutal as Jalen's injury was.
I mean, do you guys think like we could maybe be off here that Kevin is actually really hurt, and all these people are saying like Kevin would play, like obviously like Jeff Goodman. He's saying, like, I doubt Kevin wouldn't play. Like, people have always talked about how tough Kevin is. Like, are we off here? Are we being too hard on him? Because obviously I don't want to sit here and drag Kevin, and we could look like idiots, and the injury could come out or the story could fully come out. But, I mean, do you guys feel that way at all? Like, that we could be wrong or we could be being too hard on him?
Could always be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like Bill. I mean, I heard Bill today. I think he is probably hurt. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
But he is cleared to play, and then it's like, that's a really unusual one to not go then. And there's a lot at stake, probably a lot of people in your ear. So like, I don't know that it's totally like, I don't know. It's tough.
I can't get over the fact that not only did he play 35 minutes, he scored 20 points on the road at Baylor and he scored 19 points at Allen Fieldhouse. Was he super effective from the field? No, he struggled. He didn't make shots. but we looked pretty dang good. Like the Baylor loss was frustrating, but we hung around in that game. Nick has made it.
Wow, everyone.
This is your episode, Nick. You were right on this all along.
all
Come on.
along.
He got the hat off. He's locked in.
I'm
Someone
so
in the comments.
nervous.
He's looking for his hat.
Someone in the
Come
comments.
on.
No, the hat.
Oh no.
I threw the hat against the wall trying to fix my internet issues.
Well, you still sound just terrific.
Good to see you guys.
You look a lot better.
This microphone sitting in front of me doesn't work.
It
So,
does
guys,
not sound like you have a mic.
Sorry I was busy. I was trying to figure out if Kevin McCullar would be a better fit on the Maine Six or the Indiana Mad Ants. I can't decide which one is getting the best out of him at the next level.
Nick, your microphone is fucked.
Oh no. This is so bad.
It almost made that clip even funnier.
Yeah, I know. It's like Nixon had to get on and
Perfect.
fire that off. It made it all work.
What the fuck is wrong with your computer?
Shout out to
Don't worry, guys.
I'm gonna fix this.
We'll bring him back in a minute.
Don't worry, guys.
Dude, he's on like his 6th computer of the night.
He's hopping house
just
to
call
house.
in,
His
man.
neighbors. Hey, I
Oh
gotta
my
talk about
God.
Kevin.
Nick is
I
playing.
knew he
through
wasn't
it.
a Kansas guy. I knew Kevin wasn't a Kansas guy.
Hold on.
I can't wait to tweet that clip of him getting off that G League joke that was just like fighting its way through the airwaves.
He had that ready for 30 minutes too.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh,
That's so
man.
good.
Look, real
Yeah.
quick, like Hunter Dickinson, by the way, his shoulder popped out and dislocated last week, and he's gonna play.
Been practicing
Like-
since Saturday.
Kevin hasn't
Like-
practiced in 6 weeks.
and he's gonna play for a team that is dead. I mean, Hunter's gonna play for what? Hopefully, sneak a win over Samford. Like,
Yeah.
he could have easily probably shut it down. He's probably pissed that he. Imagine if he did now.
I don't think he's going to.
No.
No, and like that dude's taking a lot of shit online, and it's kind of I don't think it's totally justified. And then it's like this that it's just driving me crazy. Also about
Try
the
this
Jeff
again.
Goodman statement. I know.
There he is.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah!
Come on.
Come on.
There we
Come
go.
on. You guys don't understand the lengths I've went to make this happen. My phone is literally taped to my computer screen with a piece of packing tape. So I can't text you guys to let you know I'm good.
Well,
That's
you're
probably,
not-
by the way, that's probably why I was having microphone issues, but I'm back. And B-Turn, I heard your comment about my G League joke, and it was a high quality joke, and I think that deserves to be mentioned.
I can't wait for you
Ryan
to
said
see
I
the
said you
clip
had it ready.
of that joke. I mean, it was fighting through every piece of technology it possibly could, but it made its way.
Let's go. Come on.
But okay, so Nick B-Turn said it. He said this is your episode. Like Vern's had the scoops, but you kind of called it. You've been hinting at it on Twitter for months now that
No.
you were
Oh, yeah.
kind of
Look at him.
He's smiling.
kind of
He's like
out.
a dog.
I don't
seeing a
know the exact tweet. Maybe a little out
tennis
on
ball.
McCullar. You were frustrated with McCullar. I mean, when
I'll
did
find
you
it.
start to kind of feel that way?
Okay, so it deserves to be mentioned that when this whole news broke like 2 hours ago, I was walking with my fiance and I told her, and she's a KU fan, she went to KU, and she was with me the night that I sent that tweet. And the next day when I was like, man, people are not happy with me on Twitter. And she was like, how crazy is it that you were just drunk and sent out a tweet about not liking Kevin McCullar, and now all this shit has happened and you get to act like the hero who saw it coming the whole time? It could be further from the truth. I simply, and Vern will attest to this, even though Vern thinks that I'm always hiding info and like I actually know more than I'm leading on to, I didn't know shit, man. I just didn't like him. I didn't like him. And it just so happens that he happened to have this injury thing that came up like a month later. But, you know, it is good that I get to take a victory lap today. But as a KU fan, it does suck. Like, he's one of your best players, and he just decided to punt on the season regardless of what Hunter Dickinson and Jeff Goodman would have you believe on Twitter. I get it. You know, everybody's got their own little avenues that they're working. But I don't really think I knew much. Maybe I just knew that he was not a Kansas guy.
Can we read it, and then can you explain that? You said, if I'm being honest, I'm totally over McCullar, and real KU fans understand what I'm saying. February 10th. February 10th. 8 o'clock?
Real KU.
Yeah.
Your time? I don't think he was okay.
No, because I'd been day drinking, and I think I was with an Arizona fan, I think, and they were like, what do you think of Kevin McCullar? They were showing him on the bench during that Baylor game, which we won that one, I think, then we lost the next one. And he asked me, he's like, what do you think of Kevin McCullar? And I was like, to be honest, dude, I don't like him. And then I had this take, and I'm saying it verbally. I expanded on it drunkenly, and I was like, I kind of like this take. This is kind of good. And then I soft launched it to Vern and a couple other friends, and everyone was just kind of like, nah, man. But for some reason, I just railroaded through those warning signs of not sending it out, and then just got absolutely blasted. And I would guess that if any 4 of you guys saw it, you guys probably all didn't understand or like disagreed vehemently with what I was saying, right? Because no, I didn't have any support at the time.
I supported you.
Yeah. I don't remember having a strong take about it, but
I think most people were just confused.
Yeah.
Like, what is he talking about? And yeah, I think that was it, man. I just have maintained, and I think I started feeling this towards the tail end of last season. I was just like, there's just something about this dude that I don't like. I just think body language is bad. I think he's kind of whiny. I don't think he like exudes leadership on the court, but everybody was like, oh, well, he's so tough and he plays good defense. And then Bill Self went to the end of the year banquet last year and was like, he's one of the toughest guys. I don't know, B-Turn, you can do a better impression than I can. And he's like, oh, he's so tough. He just, everybody give him a round of applause. We need him back. And then people were throwing that in my face when I made the take. I'm like, it's the end of the year banquet. Like, it's a suck fest. Like, they just talk about how great every single guy is. But I don't know. I can't really put my finger on like why I didn't like him. I just didn't really like him. And then it so happens that this happened. So I don't know what to say. I guess your boy's a soothsayer. What can I say?
So Nick, like you know as much about KU as anyone. You've been following KU sports forever. Like, you've heard Bill Self talk millions of times. When you listen to him talk today, like, you could kind of tell that he was pretty much saying Kev made the decision to be done, right?
Have you listened?
Yeah, I heard that. I watched the video. I think that because Bill is like this good old Southern country boy, people don't necessarily, I don't know, I wouldn't say people, I don't want to like put a blanket statement out there, but I think he gets this reputation as just, you know, he tells the truth and he sticks up for his guys. Like, Bill Self is very savvy. He knows how to use the media to his advantage. And Vern can tell you this better than anybody, like, just with the media scene in general. Like, Bill is great about making you feel like you're one of his dudes. And he knows how to put little nuggets out there to use it to his advantage, whether it's saying last week that KU is going to be as healthy as they've been in a long time, while 2 of their best players aren't playing for the Big 12 tournament. Like, he knew what he was doing. He was posturing for the NCAA tournament committee to not fault them and bump them down a line. And when he said that tonight, like, you guys all know this, you've heard him speak enough. There are just subtle little differences in the way he talks about it. Like, when he said he doesn't think he can go, that's a big difference between him saying he can't go.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden the onus is on me. We've all collectively decided he can't go. But when he says he doesn't think he can go, he is now putting that responsibility on Kevin. And I think that, Like that little nugget was the one that stuck out to me the most.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. What'd you think? I mean, you kind of mentioned, you commented on it, and we talked briefly about it, but what do you think of the post? You know, we got the Notes app comment from Kevin, the statement, and then we got Dickinson and DeJuan and Kenny Logan showing support. Like,
wait, Kenny Logan got involved too.
Yeah, Kenny Logan's a day one guy. He's always supporting his guys.
Love that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm curious if have you guys already discussed this before I got on?
little bit, just kind of laughed at. I mean, it felt like it was very much designed.
What?
Yeah,
What are we
exactly.
talking about?
The statement and the support and all that.
That's what I thought. I want to. The statement we should talk about, Nick.
I think if it's not a thing, then why would you even have to say that? How many times has a guy been injured and had to like clarify that, like, no, I'm really injured? Have you ever seen anything like that before? Like that first paragraph, you see guys say like, I'm gutted to not be able to play with my guys, and I'm gutted that I can't play, but my injury's too bad. But the extent of detail that he went into, have you ever seen a player do that for an injury, like a season-ending injury like that?
Yeah.
Whoever wrote that needs to like use ChatGPT, or maybe they did. Like that was it came off as totally self-serving. It wasn't about KU, really, the team. I did this. I spent like the statement actually I thought was poorly done. And if he did it himself, like, all right, that's a college kid trying it, but he's got a team. Players can have agents. Someone advised him to do that. I would hope in they did a bad job.
Well, so to play devil's advocate or come to Kevin's defense a little bit, what statement could he have put out
Maybe
that we would have said, that's a great statement. Good job. Thanks, Kevin. Like that makes us feel better. Like I feel like he was getting roasted. He was getting dragged. Did it really matter what he put out? I mean, probably just not a statement, or maybe just a think. I don't even know, but it did just feel the whole going over his routine to try and come back. It felt very forced. I don't know.
It was clearly a direct response.
Yeah.
To people doubting the legitimacy of his injury, right? And even if you don't, like, even if you're not like an online KU fan and you're not plugged into like what people are saying or like what Vern's been reporting on the last couple months, if you just hear bone bruise, like he's out with a bone bruise, he's out for the tournament, not like, oh, he's out for the first game, not out for the first weekend. If you have any level of like sports knowledge and sports injuries, and you just hear like he can't play again this season with a bone bruise, isn't that a little fishy? Like, aren't you wondering, like, really? Like, there's no chance he can't come back from a bruise next week? We're not talking about like, oh, he sprained something. We're talking about a bone bruise. Like that's the part to me that I just like, I don't get. And anybody who reads that is gonna like, there's nothing, to your point, Ryan, there's nothing he can say that's going to like convince people that like, oh no, yeah, this makes sense.
Well, and it's like what we've been saying.
He's in a bad spot.
He played 35 minutes, scored 20 points within the last 2-3 weeks. Like, so that's what I think has also made this such a tough thing for fans to accept, because it's like what B-Turn's been tweeting about and saying on here is, what if we do beat Gonzaga or McNeese State and Samford and we make the Sweet 16? You still can't play? Like, it's
you can't warm up and try to give it a go and maybe give the team 20 minutes. I mean, I don't know. That's why. Did any of you get the thought that this team might just think this run might not go? They might not go very far. I mean, sometimes I feel like this team is checked out. I mean, I'm not even trying to say sometimes. They seem checked out.
Yeah.
You said it, brother. You said it.
It's messy.
Hey, Mike, did you guys, I don't know if you already talked about this, so I apologize, but do you think this was a Bill Self decision, or was this a Kevin McCullar? Like, was this Bill Self putting the ultimatum on Kevin?
I think I don't know about the rest of the tournament, but I think he was cleared to play. Like is my understanding. I think he was cleared to play. And if he was wavering, I don't know who said, all right, we're shutting it down. I don't really think so, to be honest. I think this is a Kevin McCullar decision.
Can it be both?
I could see it. I could see it being both.
Yeah, like could it be Kev say he's not ready to go Thursday, and then Bill's like, all right, fuck it, we're just moving on. You're just done for the rest of the tournament. Like that's kind of the vibe I'm picking up.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he's kind of been making subtle comments about this for a month now, right? About Kev.
Yeah.
Go back to the Texas game.
They're frustrated. Yeah.
It was the post game after the Texas game when Bill did the locker room interview with Gurley, and he was like, I don't know if we're getting Kevin back again this year. And that was the first time that had even been mentioned.
By the way,
he brought it up like 5 times. He kept going back to it. Well, we don't know if Kevin's going to be back. And he's like, well, how about the 3-point defense? He's like, well, we're not sure Kevin's coming back. I was like, wait, what? You really want to talk about this, don't you, Bill?
But you really think if McCullar was like, I can't go this weekend, we'll see about next week, and Bill was just like, you're done. I'm done with this.
I think he could have just been frustrated with it because I feel like that's probably what he's been telling Bill for the last 6 weeks. Like
exactly.
Right. At some point, you got to go.
Yeah. He's tired of him pussyfooting around with this and being like, oh, maybe we'll see next week. Well, ask me again in 2 days. Like Bill is in tournament mode. He doesn't want to have to like spend all of his time thinking about will Kevin be back? Won't Kevin? I mean, this is totally tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, but
I love that.
It is giving off those vibes. I agree.
Yeah.
The comments I'm kind of hearing, there's a lot of different opinions from pretty plugged in kind of people, but like I believe like it sounds like he was shutting it down. But like it's just still, I mean, at some point you do have to make a call. So maybe it was like that.
But if you don't know
by today.
But if you're right, if Kevin is shutting it down, just put yourself in his shoes. Why would you sit here on March 19th, 2 days before the tournament starts, and say, there's no chance of me being good next week? There's no chance of me being good in 2 weeks. Like, why do you make the proclamation that, like, it's just done? There's no coming back from a bone bruise.
Yep.
Yeah, like what if they they're not going to, but what if they made the national semifinal game?
Right.
Well, at that point, it's like if they get hot and even get out of this weekend, though, this is where I also think it might just been Bill saying shut it down because they're going to have to get hot with the guys they have. Do they really want to mess with that momentum that they've built and add a guy like Kevin's if, say, God hope so, Nick Timberlake gets hot or El Marco Jackson figures it out or Furphy starts shooting the ball and contributing more like he did in January? Like, do you really want to add a guy and throw things off if they're kind of finding their stride with the guys they're going in this weekend with?
If it's Kevin McCullar, you do. I don't know. I mean, like, I do. It does seem like there was probably a line drawn in the sand. You know, like that's already happened this season.
Which
I think there was a point earlier this year, which is like, all right, you're telling us, are we back or not? But it still feels generally like there's business decisions being made.
But as we say that, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, let's say this is an agent or a parent or I don't know. And there's nothing about the way Kevin McCullar's ending his college career that's going to have him looking appealing to an NBA executive team. Like
they're gonna do diligence. They're gonna ask.
And I know he hasn't been good since he's been battling this bone bruise, but we just said he put up numbers 19, 20. He was a really good player at the beginning of the year, but they are not going to draft him in the top 15 or the top 20 because of how he played in November and December. So I don't even think that this is that good of a business decision. That's what's weird to me.
That's why I guess I questioned if we are being too, or if we're jumping. It's just, you would think he would be trying to play for his stock. I mean, he just turned 23 a couple days ago. Obviously, teams are going to be turned off by that. I know it's a weak draft class, so maybe he's thinking if I keep playing like shit, maybe I really will fall in the draft. I don't know. It's just, That's what I'm so confused, because I feel like you should be wanting to play on the biggest stage at one of the biggest schools in the country
If you're cleared
in
to
a tournament.
play,
Yeah, isn't it easier to explain to play through an injury and use that as your excuse if you're playing bad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rather than just sitting out and saying, yeah, I was nicked up a little bit and I was trying to get healthy for the combine in June.
if you're cleared to play,
Mm-hmm.
And B-turn, to your point of like, oh, are we jumping to conclusions? Are we being too hard? Maybe. But if that is the case, and we're just dead wrong about all this, then you have to explain away a lot of different things. And it's like one thing if okay, maybe we got Bill Self's comments after the Texas game wrong. Maybe we interpreted those incorrectly. Maybe we interpreted his comments last week incorrectly when he seemed utterly confident that he was going to be back this week. And on top of that, we have to assume that we interpreted the comments today, which every single person in this room took as like, oh, he's pissed. So it's not just one of them. It's that like, oh, we got every single one of those wrong. Bill was never mad. There was never any certainty that he was going to play last week. And he was not fed up today when he was speaking to the reporters outside of the hotel. And it's like the idea that we were wrong about all of them, maybe one, but all of them, that to me is like harder to believe than like the idea that we're just getting it all wrong.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can keep teeing off then. Who wants to go?
I'd like to throw this question out to the group. If this team was 28-4 and a 1 seed in the Midwest region, do we think Kevin McCullar's playing in this game? And do we think Bill Self's maybe more open to him coming back in the second weekend if McCullar's saying, well, I may not be good this weekend, but I will be? Or is this like a point where Bill's like, well, this team ain't doing it anyway, so I'm going to make a point and say, like, if that is the right theory of Kevin said, I don't know about this weekend, but maybe next. And Bill says, nope, don't care. If we're 28-4 and we're a 1 seed, is this a whole different story?
yeah,
Yeah.
it for
It
sure
definitely
is. I think he's playing.
Yeah, I think so.
Because a lot of people have likened this, and I don't necessarily see it as much, but a lot of
He just
people have
played
likened this
last
to the Remy Martin situation, right? What was in 2022? Was KU a 1 or a 2?
One.
He certainly gave Remy a lot of second chances, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And Remy had not built up the equity that Kevin McCullar had built up over the last 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Would Bill do that to the rest of the guys, though?
Do what to the rest of the guys?
Like, just because they're not a 1 seed, just completely give up on the chance of any tournament run and tell Kevin to just fuck off, pretty much?
Well, it depends how you look at it, right? Like, yeah, if you say he's just saying he's giving up, but counterpoint, like the flip side is like, what if he's saying nobody's above the team? Like, you're not,
True.
I'm not just going to like make the rest of you guys wait and wonder what this team's going to look like. Like, I get what you're saying because he's the second best player on this team, but like, we don't know what's going on. Like, we don't know what the other guys think of it. We don't know what the other players have known all season or what their thoughts are. So it's kind of tough to say.
A lot of frustration. I'm sensing it. Like, if it's getting to me, like, I have to imagine it's happening on the inside as well.
Yeah.
And it's been happening for like months.
Vern, you've kind of alluded a little bit to Jeff Goodman has very much been on top of this.
Orange, buddy.
He's been the one announcing McCullar's out, McCullar's coming back. And am I wrong? Goodman pretty confidently tweeted earlier maybe even Monday, that McCullar he said, I talked to Kevin McCullar and he is going to play, right? Like, am I not to
Really?
I mean, like,
or Roger Clemens, but am I misremembering that?
Didn't expect Roger Clemens' name drop on tonight's episode.
what? I mean, the issue, like, I think Jeff gets a lot of shit and probably not all that fairly. Anyways, like, I don't want to. My issue is like the McCullar tweet is like, no chance he sits if he felt he could get out there and play, is like so directed. It is so clearly targeted to the conversation that was happening. And if you look at who has had every McCullar scoop, it's Jeff Goodman. And so it's like clear to me, like a straight through line of messaging from the McCullar camp, I guess, like every single time.
By the way,
so,
Jeff Goodman,
Jeff's gonna like him.
If you go to his Twitter right now, he retweeted the McCullar statement. He retweeted Hunter Dickinson's support of the McCullar statement.
Right.
And then Jeff Goodman made his own statement. So
Sleeping with the man?
I love that. I love that he had to make his own statement.
well,
like he couldn't just share the news. He's like, now guys, let me tell you about this kid. Let me tell you about how tough this son of a gun is.
It's PR work. For sure. I've got a question. Would you rather be the donor who gave NIL money that went to Nick Timberlake or Kevin McCullar?
Brother.
Wait, what's the difference in money that those guys got?
I don't know. Beater?
I've heard Timberlake got $400K.
I think that's probably around a good number. 350, 400. Yeah.
Business is booming.
Top of the backboard. I'll never forget the 15-footer inside the T-Mobile Center from Nick Timberlake. Every time I hear his name for the rest of my life, I'm going to think about that 15-footer that hit the top of the backboard against Cincy.
Bill's reaction was so good too.
The Cincinnati game is truly the lowest point I think we've all had. I cannot believe what we witnessed on that court.
Worst moment since Roy left.
Someone just said that's $100K for each 3 Timberlakes made in the comments.
Oh, this is bad. This is
Ryan, I want you to show some more energy because Ryan, with the text thread, I don't want to expose you, but I've never seen you as fired up as you were when that tweet hit the timeline earlier today.
Dude, I was
Ryan broke the news to me. Ryan broke the news to me in all caps.
I was so fired up. I could not believe it. But I knew I had to just chill out a little bit. I couldn't come on here and,
why not?
Completely eviscerate the man. But yeah, it just sucks. Like, it just sucks to think that this is back-to-back tournaments where, one, we don't have Bill Self, but we had that hope of, well, if we just make the second weekend, he's back, which was not happening. I think we probably know at this point. And now here we are. Not that this team, I guess, Spin Zone, can we now be able to look back on this season and say, hey, well, if we have a healthy McCullar, that team makes a national title run. In 10 years,
that's going to make me so mad if that's the narrative coming off this year.
What
if we're treating this as like an Embiid situation, it's going to piss me off.
We will, though. We will.
You will?
No, I'm just saying, KU Twitter.
And this is the perfect excuse. Here's the thing. They sucked with him.
Yes.
They weren't good. It's not like if only they were healthy. No, we saw them fully healthy, and they were still a pretty average team.
I still just don't get how they got through the non-con with one loss. They were literally starting DeJuan, El Marco, and KJ. Those 3 were in the starting lineup, and they found a way to beat Kentucky, Tennessee, UConn. But they also
Indiana on the road. Like, that was an impressive win at the time.
Yeah.
And then you get to Big 12 play, and Kev was healthy. They couldn't close it at UCF with a 15-point lead. Kev was healthy. They lost in Morgantown, gave up like 90 points. What other games do you think he was fully healthy in that we lost? I'm trying to think.
Did you say UCF?
Yeah.
I mean,
at K-State he played. Right? Yeah. Iowa State.
Yeah, but that K-State game, I know we talked about it already, but I remember vividly you saying while we were sitting next to each other that he just does not look right.
Yeah. No, he was not. Yeah. I
think that this season, like, as bad as it's been, even if you're down, like I've been down on KU for the last couple months, and like most people have, but there's just something about the tournament where you can just kind of psych yourself up into like stuff happening, reset button, chip on their shoulder, prove everybody wrong, whatever. And That's what sucks most about this is like now, even if you were doing that, if you were playing that game, like that's dead too. Like it's tough to even like try and convince yourself that this team's going to like rally around the season they had and go on some sort of a run.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like as a fan, I can talk myself into a lot of things. Like it's not very hard. Big 12 tournament, we lost to Cincy. I was like, I'm not watching a game rest of the year. I'm done. Fuck these guys. And a couple days later, I'm talking myself into if Kev is 100%, who knows? Because they did beat all those good teams. And Hunter and Kev averaged 20 points, and Kev was going for triple doubles back-to-back games. So yeah, I was like talking myself into it. But then now, you have Johnny Furphy and DeJuan Harris against Cincy. There's no pressure on you. Just go out and play. And those two, I was pretty disappointed. I mean, against Cincinnati, Johnny Furphy had 2 points, couldn't get open, wasn't getting good looks. DeJuan did not play very well. So I thought those two would step up. What did he say?
It's one of my favorite lines of all time. I love this quote.
Yeah.
Do you know how embarrassing it was for me to be sitting here at home? I'm in a bad mood, and Hannah goes, "Why are you in such a bad mood?" And I had to be like, because a player on the team I cheer for that already sucked doesn't have their second best. Like, it's so stupid that this team probably wasn't making the second weekend anyways. But I don't know. It's just something about knowing there is a literal 0% chance this team can make any sort of run in this tournament. Just sucks.
And that's kind of where I'm at with this Samford game on Thursday. Is everyone's talking about Hunter being able to get his, which he should. Samford, their tallest guy's like 6'7". I feel like Hunter could go for 32 and 16, and I think Samford would still have a great chance to win, because who's going to score for KU? Who's going to be able to create? Who's going to be able to get open shots? Like, yeah, I guess KJ can play bully ball, kind of like he did against Cincy. But I still think we're in trouble. They press. We're not very deep. They play at a quick tempo. I just worry about the depth and who else is going to score besides Hunter. And can Hunter get out and guard the three?
Has the line moved?
No, he can't.
Oh, the line moved? Yeah, for sure.
AB, do you have updated odds on the region?
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, did you guys? So we were on the pod Sunday night after selection show, and we were looking at the odds, and KU popped up at 19-1 to make the Final Four, and we all just lost it. Like, we were behind Texas, and I immediately was like, well, something has to be sketchy. Vegas has to know something. But then KU moved to what? Like 12-1,
we were
guys?
1,000. We were 10-1 as of yesterday.
Money was coming in. Money was coming in on KU, and it came in this morning again, which I thought was directly tied to McCullar, like being good. Like, they jumped back up. Money was coming in on the Hawks.
What's the line now? I would check, but as I said earlier, my phone is taped to my computer screen.
Final Four or for the game?
Yeah, Final
For
Four.
Samford.
Oh, for the game?
It's still -7 according to the chat from Kyle Kopp. He said it went down to about a half point, I guess.
I think it was at 8 some places.
Yeah.
Does anybody have the stones to back Kansas?
Oh, I already got Samford plus 8.5 to the moon. I might just put the house on.
How much money?
You're telling me
on it?
Nick
Will you
Timberlake
trade
won't be
publicly?
right at home? Oh, sorry.
That's what I was
Brian,
going to
go ahead.
say. I was watching a clip of this one podcast. It's called Could Be Wrong podcast. And they were talking about how Nick Timberlake is a mid-major killer, and he was incredible at Towson. And we might have this little region of 4 teams that includes McNeese State and Samford right where we want them. And Timberlake is just about to throw bombs against Samford. McNeese State beats the Zags. Kansas goes to the Sweet 16.
Beat
Bill
Utah
Self.
State, baby.
Bill Self only has 2 losses in the Sweet 16.
I'm going to be honest
They're
with you.
13-1 to go to the Final Four, by the way.
No one believes in us.
13-1. I still think Kansas rolls Samford. Like,
Yeah.
steamroll. Dude, they are little, like Jayhawk Talk, Kevin McCullar said on our podcast, they are little tiny baby men. That is who Samford is bringing to the NCAA tournament. 5'8", 6 foot front court, like back court. Like, are you kidding me? Come on. This is still Kansas. Like, I get it. It's been a down year, but like, this is Kansas versus Samford. Like the worst of the S-fords. you're Kansas. Like you have to annihilate these losers. I'm sorry. Like I don't care. I don't care how bad the season's been. You have Bill Self. You have a second-team All-American in Hunter Dickinson. You have a national championship winning point guard. You have a dude who throttled mid-majors last year. Like you need to beat the shit out of these guys. I don't care that Kevin McCullar's not playing. The talent discrepancy, as bad as it's been at Kansas, is still massive for this game. I'm backing Kansas at whatever number I get it at.
Nick, have you seen, you tweeted, or the Could Be Wrong pod tweeted the video of talking about Samford being small, press a lot, and some guy who covers the whatever league they play in, I don't know.
SoCon?
He's a Stanford believer. Yeah. Said, quote tweeted us, the view that Samford is just a bunch of little dudes that press all game is so off. And I responded like, they are statistically the 11th shortest team and they press the second most in the country. Like this is factual.
What was this guy's point? I don't understand.
So then, no, he just sent like a giant block of text response, like way over the Twitter limit. And I didn't read it. And I just said, I'm not reading this. We have a situation because it was like an hour after McCullar news. I was like, I'm not reading this. He's like trying to say that they're not that small and like what they're.
Yeah, they probably don't seem that small when he's only watched SoCon basketball all year long.
Hey, dude,
he probably fits right in with the other teams.
I love this guy, by the way. Yeah.
The idea that Samford is just like they're multiple, man. Oh, they have so many ways they can beat you. I'm like, no, they don't, because that's not how mid-majors play basketball. They have one style play, and if they execute it well and they catch you off guard, that's how they win. It's not like, oh, they'll beat you. They'll play a physical game. They'll get you down low. They'll beat you at the foul. No, they have to hit shots and turn you over.
And they take what? I think they take 25 threes a game, I heard. They'll probably fire 25, 30 threes. How many over under? How many threes does Kansas hit on Thursday?
Make or shoot?
Yep. What would you set the line at? 3.5, 4.5?
Yeah, I was gonna say 4.5.
And how many scholarship players do we have right now? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Obviously,
7. Why did Kansas take Zach Clements back? Has anyone talked? I've been saving this one for like our pod. So Nick, sorry, I just launched it. What are we doing?
Yeah,
this was a bad offseason.
So bad. I mean, obviously you take the chance on Arterio, who had his prior stuff. Nick Timberlake, who was great at Towson, but you gave him $500,000.
The thing about it is like UConn wanted Timberlake too. Like that's the one thing that keeps me going. Like what Timberlake has done is just stunning. Like
I gotta get the UConn coaches to talk.
The system is broken. If Nick Timberlake is worth $500,000, like we've got to take a step back and figure out like how do we fix NIL? It's broken. And when I don't know if like Congress is going to meet over this. It seems like they're always talking about NIL, but like if I'm Congress and I'm trying to like fix NIL, I'm bringing up Nick Timberlake stuff this year. So what are we doing here, guys?
Just a bunch of screenshots of KU Twitter just eviscerating Nick Timberlake, being like, "Look what this man has done to this fan base," and they were
happy.
Honestly,
all his lowlights of him trying to yam it and then it like bounces off his knee and goes out of bounds. He's like, this is what $500,000 gets you in today's college landscape.
How many points should Hunter and KJ combine for on Thursday? Like they just need to dominate them inside.
KU's gonna should get a lot of layups, right? Like,
and how much do you guys trust Furphy to score it right now? Like, how worried are you?
I think Furphy's going to look good against Samford.
I think so too.
My question is the second round game is how will Furphy look against a Gonzaga, or a McNeese. I want to throw this one out to you guys. Let's assume we beat Samford.
Strong assumption.
We still should.
Yeah.
Assuming, I think we all would agree that we're probably going to lose. If it's Gonzaga, we're probably going to lose that game. Would you rather go down? Would you rather see this team go down in the fashion of kind of like that Cincinnati game where we're just watching clank after clank, Nick Timberlake's hitting the side of the backboard, the top of the backboard, like things look just rough? Or would you rather be like, let's throw El Marco out there, let's get El Marco all these minutes, and let's go down with El Marco maybe turning the ball over? I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can live with watching this team lose by 25 points in the second round game.
Again,
Just watching Timberlake miss shot after shot after shot.
It's going to be bad.
We've been saying this for a couple of weeks now. Like the shitty teams we've had lately that have been like 4 seeds have just gotten smoked in the second round. Auburn obviously was just ridiculous, and then USC with the Mobleys. So could see it again. I feel like I could see Samford outscoring us by like what, 20 plus points just from the 3-point line.
Well,
They're gonna probably, I bet they hit 8 to 10 threes.
you're saying Samford?
Yes.
You really feel we're going to lose to Samford?
I'm not saying like I guarantee it. I'm just saying I think they outscore us by 15, 20 from the 3-point line. And we have no depth. They are like, what, top 15 in tempo, AB?
Sure. They press a lot.
Yeah, so they're going to press, and they play quick, and we have no depth, and we're banged up. I don't know. I'm a little nervous.
It's 11 unranked recruits still.
I'm just
Like,
who's going to score for us outside of Hunter consistently?
Yeah, well, KU before the Big 12 didn't lose any of those games this year. Like
right.
13-1.
Yeah, they did come close. Well, Braden, answer your question. It's not like we're expecting, like when we were watching the Houston game or Baylor or whatever without Kevin, and we need these guys to show out against really good talent. Like I expect DeJuan to be able to get to the rim against a guy that's 5'8". I expect KJ to physically dominate someone and get to the rim. I expect Furphy to be able to shoot over guys. Like,
yeah.
I definitely trust some of these dudes that haven't been playing well in Big 12 play to show up against a bunch of 6-footers and not as talented dudes. That's just kind of, it feels like a different conversation to me.
So you guys would be full-blown shocked if we lose on Thursday.
Not full-blown, but like
no,
kind of.
it's tough to be full-blown up the last 2 games we've seen KU play. Like, it's tough to really say you'd be shocked. But dude, it's just like it's the tournament now, and there's just part of me that wants to believe that Bill is going to get these dudes right for that game.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we have nothing to look forward to, but can we at least look forward to not going out in embarrassing fashion? Like, I know I'll sit here and say that, and either way we could lose to Gonzaga on the final possession of the game and I'll still be pissed. But I just really want to see this team somewhat convince themselves that they can make a Sweet 16, and it'll be funny. This podcast, your guys' podcast, if we win these next 2 games, will we talk ourselves into
Fuck yeah, we will.
Kevin plays against Purdue.
No.
Yams on Edie.
Talk ourselves into it without Kevin.
Bill reverses course. Hey, remember how I said, like, if you're not playing this weekend, you're done? Yeah, what's gonna kill like Gonzaga pick and rolling, like a pretty skilled, high execution team, KU just into the ground. And McCullar really would help in that situation at defending like Hunter on the perimeter. Zone. We're gonna get zone hawks.
I've been wondering why we haven't done any junk defense. I wanted to see that against Cincinnati.
Doesn't Samford run zone at a pretty high percentage?
Yep. I don't know, that guy on Twitter might disagree, but yeah, they do.
I'm not saying they're going to make a ton, but how many wide open 3-point attempts is Nick Timberlake going to give up on Thursday? I've never seen someone get lost more defensively. Nick, you have to answer this. Is he the worst rotational defender Bill Self has had? And if so, who would be like, who's a better defender, Brandon Green or Timberlake?
Yeah,
Braden,
I was about to say.
You don't have to say
Brandon
defender
Green,
in general.
Yeah, because Brandon Green, I think it was his last year, his junior year, or maybe it was his sophomore year, but he was shooting like 50% from 3.
He shot 50% his junior year on like a lot of attempts.
And then Bill was like, and Bill still refused to play him. Like, that's how bad of a defender he was. You're the greatest shooter that I may have ever coached, but I can't play you because you're that bad on the other end. Nick Timberlake's not even that good of a shooter, and he's still getting run.
My favorite thing ever is that Brandon Green did a NBA draft announcement after his junior year.
Dude, there were a lot of those around that time. You remember that? Like every single year, guys would announce they're like coming back. I think David McCormick had a few of those. Wayne had a few of those. Like Wayne averaged 9 points his freshman year, and he's like, "I'm returning." It's like, oh, that's cute.
Well, we just got an El Marco Kevin Durant comparison in the comments, so I'd say
And what?
Sure.
Yeah,
mid-range.
And what is he comparing him? Oh, okay.
Mid-range gods.
the midi.
I've been saying this for a while. Like El Marco gets to his
He's
spot
KD.
so good. Yeah, I've been making this comparison for months. Where were
Chris
you guys
Paul.
been? No, he gets to his spot like really well. He always beats that first guy. The problem is he gets to that spot, rises, and bricks. And it's like if only he could hit a few more of those. But like to the earlier question, like I would rather see what El Marco can do. You're not going to the Final Four anyway. So why not trot one of your most talented players out there and see if he can get hot?
Like, what if
What do
it
you have to
sparks
lose?
something? Even if it's
don't
not
have
an
a
Elite
choice.
Eight run, but does it spark something for Marco next year? Like, I don't.
What
Long
school is he
game.
playing at?
Yeah, if he's back, I don't know. Vernon
I was
probably.
just thinking like when we were preseason
there's a
number
chance.
one and odds-on favorite to win it all. What if I told you guys that Nick Timberlake and Johnny Furphy were going to be two starters in the NCAA tournament?
Oh, I'd be like, we're sick. I think I'd be like, oh, these guys are sick.
Oh, they're that good.
Yeah.
I guess just because probably going into the year we thought what Juan, Terrio, Kev, KJ, and Hunter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, they needed shooting. That would be, and they're sick.
They're so good that they had to sit Arterio and Kev.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Kev. Yeah,
So
that'd be problematic. Yeah.
we probably don't need to deep dive on this, but while we have you guys on, you mentioned it, Vern. This was a bad offseason. And now it feels like we are approaching I don't know. I guess if you get DeJuan and you get KJ's back like expected and Hunter returns, you maybe don't have to go out and do a complete roster overturn. But like there's going to be some big moves that have to happen this offseason. So like where do you guys feel like is the staff ready to go scorched earth? Like does
Yes.
Bill Self beyond frustrated at this, I assume, and he's just ready to go scorch earth. Oh no, Nick.
Gone.
Yeah,
Wow.
I forget who said it today, but someone said Bill is absolutely locked into the portal.
Yes. I don't know who said that, but
Trilly?
I mean,
is it Trilly
how
Donovan?
dare you? I don't know. I've been saying the same thing. Like, I'm not even hearing Liam McNeely. I am Trilly Donovan. I'm not even hearing
Yeah.
like I'm not sure about Liam McNeely. Like KU's all in on the portal. Experienced players. I don't know how that's going to play out. But let's think about this. Bill's got DeJuan, probably Hunter Dickinson coming back, and not that many years left as a coach, right? Like these are facts. And right now, like you can pay to go get guys. I think it's scorched earth. How many chances is he going to have left to win a title? Those are two pieces that can do it. Yeah, I think it's going to be madness.
That's what I was.
Earth enough to maybe not be loyal to a guy.
Have to.
You know, like whether it's KJ, I don't know. Like, is that a possibility? Not that it's such a hard conversation. I don't want to get into this too much, but like if Bill sees an opportunity where he can put together a lineup that's like, wait, we could have this guy at the 4 and this guy at the 3. And so maybe I can talk KJ into coming off the bench. Like, do you see that type of scorched earth? Or is Bill too loyal to a guy like KJ? And flat out, KJ probably deserves to not be messed with. But
I don't. Can you still be loyal and put together the best team possible? I think KU will be loyal to KJ, but he probably shouldn't be playing as many minutes as he had. It's tough when you're rolling out 1 and 2 centers,
yeah,
which is like kind of KJ and Hunter. But
Don't get us on that conversation again.
Because
I don't know.
Nick was just talking about it. How, I mean, we did win our games early in the year, but we didn't look great even when Kev was healthy. So you think about it, DeJuan, KJ, Hunter, you had Johnny Furphy and Kevin McCullar, 2 first rounders, and this team really still couldn't figure it out. Can you do better than those 2 in the portal this offseason and compete for a national title? Like, I was literally thinking about this earlier on what you just said, Vern, is how long does Bill have? Like, if he has 5 years left, how many more cracks do you actually have at a natty, like a legit national title contender?
Well,
And it's
more
just scary to think about it.
Probably have a true shot 2 every 4 years.
So
something like
Bill, I mean, Bill's got to do whatever it takes. And if that's sitting one of your favorite players that plays really hard, I think you got to do it. And I think KJ is going to be a guy that comes off the bench next year. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I think you surround DeJuan with a bunch of guards that can score like the 2022 team. And then I don't think you'll see any complaints from DeJuan about DeJuan.
If UConn can go with Sonogo and Klingon off the bench last year, like KU can do that. And KJ can play a lot of minutes. I'd even say like whoever's in is going to play minutes, but we're talking experienced Power 5 players is who I'm thinking KU is going to try to bring in. Different than Nick Timberlake. Hopefully they've learned their lesson.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt seeing all these names on the portal these last few days where it's like, oh, a guy from Pepperdine and a guy from this school. I'm like, I'm not interested.
That dude might be good. But
yeah, the Pepperdine guy looked pretty sick. But, like, I'm waiting for these teams that lose in the Elite Eight to have guys transfer because of NIL money or because of a fit they don't like, or I don't know. Like, I want a Houston going out and getting LJ Cryer. I want that type of a move. I don't want Nick Timberlake. So that's, I hope it sounds like that will be the plan. But
someone at 1027 said, are we actually giving up on Liam? I think KU still has a great chance there. I don't know how much you know, Vern. I think
you're plugged in too.
The staff is kind of worried. I don't know about worried, but there's been like rumors about like tampering stuff, right?
It doesn't look great when dude decommits and the whole world screams Kansas. So like, you have to wonder, like, are they downplaying Liam, or they're just saying like, we're going to go get the best guys and we're not maybe an experienced dude. So I don't know. The other thing is like, I think they thought they had Liam the first time around. And if they're getting jerked around for money, like, this is just things I've been thinking through. Like, and they start sensing it again, like, they're probably not going to play that game. And they're probably pretty short fused right now, considering what they're dealing with with their current roster and probably Kevin McCullar. So I don't know. Like, the most likely scenario is that, you probably are just going to play it cool and like pretend like you don't really want him and you never wanted him. Right. Like, that makes sense. But I don't know. I'm kind of hearing that he may not be like their top choice anyway. So
I haven't wanted to say that, but I remember seeing the Twitter timeline going nuts over Liam McNeely, and I was like, that's appealing, but if he's your 3 and you still have KJ at the 4 and you have Hunter
doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, are we really? Is that what we need? I know we need shooting, but I'm not sure the freshmen, and we all can agree we've been we've been burned by expecting freshmen to come in and change the dynamic of a team. El Marco is a great example. So I don't know. I've never been more excited for an off season. I'll tell you that. Let's see. We just got a text from Nick. Yeah, I'm dying because his phone died. So imagine him. His phone's taped to the computer. His phone dies, and he has to untape it
to text us.
Poor guy.
I've just been thinking about what if they just go get like 8-9 guys that can just play.
Depth is going to be big.
Yeah. Do you guys want to have like obviously you want to, but do you think we should just go get a super deep team and play a bunch of guys? Or do you think Bill would ever do that? Or do you just go get a badass starting 5 with a couple guys you can rely off the bench?
what I think Bill will do is he'll go get a deep team and he'll tell these guys, yeah, you're going to play. And then by March, he'll be back to playing 7, 8 best guys, but he'll have the dudes if he needs them. Whereas this year, that's just not the case.
Because what's our bench going to be in the tournament? El Marco and PB and Jamari? Yeah, so we got 8, I guess.
Yeah, but
this 8 looks a little different than other 8s.
I just know there's going to be a game in the first weekend where we score like 50 points.
Well, it shouldn't be Samford. Something has gone horribly wrong if that happens against a press like the 6th quickest shooting team in the country.
I think our team total is 80 against them.
Mm-hmm. A lot of layups.
Where are you going?
I think over. I actually think Furphy's going to look really good, and we're going to get excited, and it's going to come down to how he looks in the second round. You know, the funny thing about all this is it's possible we could still make a Sweet 16. Imagine if 2 weeks ago I told you all we got to do to make a Sweet 16 is beat Samford and McNeese. Like, that's very possible.
Gonzaga didn't make the trip.
So
they didn't make the trip to Salt Lake City.
It's possible.
I mean, isn't their line still smaller than ours?
5?
Yeah, it was like 5.
So,
McNeese can play.
The Zags, I think, would have been the favorite against KU with McCullar.
Yeah, I think so too.
But McNeese is also they're good. Will Wade, maybe the next one. That's not a hearing. It's just like I always thought he was good, and
he is good. And
he's extra cool because of the NCAA trouble. Like we like that.
I guess we talked about this on Sunday, and we thought Kev was going to play, but would you guys be shocked if we made the second weekend, or how much has your confidence level changed? Like we thought Kev was for sure playing when we talked Sunday, so I felt second weekend was absolutely possible. Now,
I'd be shocked.
Would I be? I'd be surprised. It would be really funny because that means like someone is stepping up who hasn't really done that all year. Like Juan just comes out, scores 30.
People forget he made 5 threes against Kentucky.
What's your guys?
We just need someone to like fight him, and then he'll go be good.
Yeah. What's your guys' take between Jamari and Nick? Like there was a lot of talk on Twitter. Obviously, Nick played like crap against Cincy. Jamari hit a 3, kind of brings the energy. Like, do you have to play Nick over him right now? Just because he has the threat to shoot it? Or who would you play between those two?
I'm so out on Timberlake. I give me
it's the right take.
Like, I'm sorry. The threat to shoot it. I'm sorry.
There is none.
That's done. I know he's a historically good shooter, but the brain, the mental side is done. But
I don't see why Jamari doesn't get more tick, honestly. Like, he doesn't really make mistakes. He plays hard, brings the energy. You don't really get much from Timberlake. Like, I don't even know what you get from him. Just that people have to guard him on the perimeter, which he doesn't end up making a ton of shots. I can't even explain how bad he is defensively. It's like me guarding. Like, I was the worst defender of all time. He's so bad defensively. Like, it is unbelievable. Even Nick brought up the Baylor game earlier when Kev sat out, and I immediately just thought about Timberlake because he tried to lose us that game. But he doesn't bring anything. Jamari, and we're talking about in the future, Timberlake's gone after this year. Jamari gets some run. He probably sticks around next year, I think, at least. You let him get some NCAA tournament minutes, which he probably will still, but I don't even know why you play Timberlake over him right now. I really don't.
I agree.
I think you're overthinking it. I don't even want to think about it. It's I just don't care at this point. I'm just like let's see what happens.
He's getting the starter minutes over El Marco and Jamari, and I feel like it's obviously because he's an upperclassman, he's a senior, but it's not like he has this crazy amount of experience in the NCAA tournament, and he's killing you on both ends, not just one end. So I don't know. Obviously, yeah, he could start and someone could come in and play and take those minutes, but I don't see why like Nick Timberlake is the stone cold 100% locked starter over those two.
I don't know. I kind of like when he does that thing where it looks like it's going to go horribly wrong and then just yams. I don't know. It's shooting. It's
Top of the
got to
backboard.
be shooting, but like, dude is lost on defense. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
How did he hit the top of the backboard, dude?
It's really bad.
15
It's really, really
footer.
bad.
He was wide open.
And I think you got to remember, though, that like we love Jamari and he's young, but like if Jamari was playing 25, 30 minutes a game,
We'd
he'd
have
be
the same
making
feedback.
mistakes that would have us really pissed off too. Like it's always easy to say the next guy up is going to be better, but it's not like he's been an absolute gamer when he plays. I think we all like how he plays, but
It's like the backup quarterback effect.
yeah.
Like he plays 8 minutes and we get excited because it's not the guys that have been pissing us off for the 20 minutes before. I don't mean to sound like I'm beating a dead horse with the spacing issues. The lineup with Dewan, Jamari, KJ, Hunter, and Furphy, the spacing is just
There's just nothing. There's no good.
I say go all in. Like just grind it, make it ugly. That's the thing KU hasn't been able to do, and they should have done, especially with McCullar. It was just like muck it up.
I can't
Put
believe
some
And I think that's
pressure
what
on.
we thought was going to happen too.
I
What
thought this
ugly?
was going to be an all-time elite defense. DeJuan, McCullar, KJ felt like it was going to be.
Ontario.
Yeah, I mean,
Supposed.
Right.
but even El Marco or Furphy, I think you still could have an elite defense with those three guys. But just a weird year.
I just feel like it can't be very
Yeah,
hard
it can
to
be.
like, yeah, Samford is super undersized. I feel like it's not tough to prepare for KU offensively right now. You don't really have to worry about anyone on the perimeter.
Well, all right. Do we have any other takes we want to fire off before we shut this thing down?
AB, what does your heart of hearts say about McCullar?
In what sense?
After we've talked about this, I want to know where you're at
On him, like as a person and player, or on his
Not-
decision? Or
on the
just-
decision.
Yeah, I honestly think I think Bill was the one that shut him down for the season because he was simply tired of Kevin just pushing it back and kicking the can down the road. I think that's what my gut's telling me. I
Yeah.
think that's what Bill's been subtly telling us.
Yeah.
I think that's what even the games that Kevin would randomly play, I don't think we've mentioned this, but he got banged up and he missed. Was it the Cincy game he missed? And then he came back for a couple games, and then on game day, Bill was like, yeah, we might have Kevin tonight, we might not. And then like an hour later, they said Kevin wasn't going to play, and we were all surprised by it. Like it's just been so back and forth that there's just a lot of smoke in my mind that he's just doesn't feel comfortable playing, and Bill's sick of it, and he just finally cut it off.
It sounds like they were thinking he was going to go, and then he came back with that, and Bill said, "We're done with this."
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like if they felt confident or they had a better seed and thought they could make a run, that they would leave the door open. But he's done. They're shutting him down, even if they made the national championship game.
The comment, when Bill initially said the first time, he said, yeah, we'll be without Kevin. Kevin, he can't go. And the reporter that asked the next question goes, so maybe in the weekend, and Bill goes, oh, he's done. No, he's out. Kevin's out. Like he
shutting him down.
Could not make it more clear that there is no second weekend. He's done.
Like, what was the exact quote or whatever, even last week when he pretty much said both those guys are going to play in the tournament. Like, what did he say exactly, and when was it?
He said they were playing.
They're out for the Big 12 tournament.
But I swear he also said if this was the NCAA tournament, Kevin McCullar would have been playing in the Cincinnati game.
He did say that.
Yes. He's like, Hunter wouldn't play if this was the NCAA tournament, but Kevin would have. And I was like, oh, hell yes. Like, he's finally feeling good. Like, he's ready to roll. Kevin's just kind of been checked out, ready for a March run. No.
So the injury got worse while you weren't practicing or doing anything. He literally, he said that because he was like, Hunter couldn't have played tonight. He's like, there's no chance he could have played tonight against Cincinnati. He said something about Kevin maybe having a chance, and then we should have both for the NCAA tournament, or we will have both. So I guess Nick could be right on the NCAA seeding thing like that. It kind of makes sense because they do punish teams that are unhealthy. So they could have moved us to a 5, but I think Bill saying that kind of saved us a seed line.
I mean, yeah, it says on CBS, they said that the committee was told that Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullar will be available without restrictions for the first round in the NCAA tournament. That should particularly impact Kansas's seeding.
Nick's good.
Still chiming in from the chat. We appreciate it.
7 hours of rehab.
It made it worse.
This statement, like, yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
sixth seed.
Here it is. Here's the tweet. March 13th. Bill Self reiterates Hunter Dickinson should be good to go for next week in the NCAA tournament. Had this been a NCAA tournament game, Dickinson wouldn't have played, but Kevin McCullar probably could have.
6 days ago.
That's another comment from Bill, though. Probably could have. I still think he thinks he could probably play.
They've been so far off this whole time, Kevin and Bill. Like, it just, yeah.
And Bill said other things that make me think the communication was brutal too. I mean, he came out Sunday after the selection show, just said he hasn't heard anything about Kevin. How is that possible 4 days after the last game you played that you haven't heard one thing about how he's doing?
He's pissed.
Yeah,
he's pissed. Like, KU's like, you're good. You're cleared. Doctors are cleared. Your knee, he hasn't heard it worse. Like, that it has to be what's going on. What's going on? So they're just waiting here.
Mm-hmm. Can I freezing cold takes myself really quick?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Kevin got hurt the first time and I said he was 100% healthy and it was just to give him some time to sit out and let El Marco gain some confidence? That just came in my mind. PU.
Maybe you could go all in and say that Kevin isn't hurt. And this is a business move to say, look, I was an All-American. I know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I know, It's just, yeah.
I think he quit.
All-timer. It's an all-timer.
It's, I mean, it's just one of those storylines, the Remy storyline with you getting Bill Self to drop an F-bomb in a press conference and all the different things that have happened over time. This is one we'll talk about for a long, long time.
Yeah, and then he said, we'll be the healthiest we've been all year, and now your best player isn't playing a single minute in the tournament.
Great point.
So he was, I think Bill was just trying to save us a seed line.
But he's been pissed off before that too. But that's very possible. KU could have known. KU could have known for a while.
I also think Bill was, in a way, like, is he not challenging Kevin with quotes like that? To be like, look, I'm telling people you're going, so get your ass ready to be good.
The doctors are probably like, yeah, he's clear.
I mean, is there any way this happens like pre-NIL when these guys weren't making a ton of money and they were just playing with like?
Could I argue it's more likely?
Like, I'm just trying to think of any KU player that wouldn't play.
Well,
it might just be the dog mentality that those old guys had, but I'm thinking like Kevin's already made money.
Right.
He'll never make money off playing basketball. Like this happened in 2014 where he wasn't making money, if we want to say. Then I would understand the draft thing because you have one opportunity to go and get a contract and make life-changing cash. Like, but he's already made somewhat life-changing cash.
And it's like Joel Embiid was, as we're seeing it play out, a future Hall of Famer. Like, him risking it in the NCAA tournament would have been a really bad decision. This one just doesn't feel like that. It's a bone bruise.
I can't really defend him.
I got to eat dinner. It's 9 o'clock.
We kept you for an hour 30.
Yeah.
I can't stop. I cannot stop
myself.
myself.
We do every time.
You guys are awesome.
But no, I got to go too. It's 11 o'clock our time. Brutal.
There are weights to be lifted in 7.5
We played through it.
Right.
Let's
go.
Let's try to make the second weekend, boys.
Let's do
All
it.
right. We're doing another crossover pod if we're in the second weekend.
Yes. So, hey, I'm sure you all already listened, but go subscribe to Could Be Wrong Pod, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatever, and then go join the KU Hearings mailing list if you have not. It's must read. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Scoopies.
Shout
Thanks,
out
Rob.
to Vern for joining us. Nick, if you're still there lingering, I
MVP.
cannot wait to tweet the clip of you lagging through.
Your joke.
It was all the time. So, all right. Well, that's it. Thank you all for listening. Like, subscribe. We will be back. Hopefully, probably not Thursday night, maybe Friday to talk. Hopefully that the Hawks beat Samford. So that is it. Rock chalk.
Rock chalk.